Don't you hesitate now. And when you got everything you can touch and see, then I will give you the rest of me. The rest of me. The rest of me. I will give you my
What's up, everyone? Before I start this video, let me just go ahead and give a quick announcement. So if you guys don't know, this is app store where there's this app called Storyfire. It's a free to download, basically where you can write books and read other people's book as well. And I have a zombie series on there where it's basically you're following a group of characters as they go through this very weird zombie apocalypse, not knowing what's going on but figuring out how to get to a safe haven. I also have a Star Wars series on there called A Jedi Belief, where you go to the story of a Kilo, going to from a Padawan all the way to who knows what awaits for him. I hope you guys will check out my Storyfire channel in the description below, and enjoy the video, everyone. Poor Sega. You know, in 1991, they created one of gaming's most iconic video game series, Sonic the Hedgehog. It was a huge success, and it was even rivaling Mario, which, by the way, was the biggest video game at that time. So yes, Sonic was amazing at one point, but then however, Sega had a shaky start to get him into 3D of games such as Sonic Shuffles, Sonic 3D, and all those crappy games. So basically, this piece of garbage games continued until they reached Sonic Adventure, where they actually made a great 3D Sonic game. They made Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and then Sonic Heroes, which was okay, and then Shadow the Hedgehog, which was so bad, and then Sonic 06, which somehow even to be worse than Shadow the Hedgehog. So yeah, people were not pleased with Sega, and for a while, people thought that Sonic would be dead. And it's one of Sega's first moves after the disaster that was Sonic 06 was to turn Sonic into a werewolf. Yeah, people thought Sonic was dead. However, he made a comeback of Sonic Colors, and then we had a bunch of good games such as Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, and okay games such as Sonic Lost World and Sonic Unleashed. So, when we saw that Sonic Forces was coming out, people didn't know what to expect. People were wondering if this was going to be bad, if this was going to be okay, or if this was finally going to be Sonic's great comeback. You want to know what that epic response was? People thought Sonic Forces was mediocre. Yeah. For some reason, this game was it had everyone so hyped up and people were so excited. Then when this game finally came out, people were less than thrilled when they actually played it. And so you might be wondering, why in the world were people less thrilled when they actually played it? Does that mean the game's bad? Does that mean the game's good? What does this mean for the Sonic Forces? Well, everyone, sit back and let me tell you about Sonic Forces. So let's start out with the graphics. So basically, even though this is a new Sonic game, and this is the first modern Sonic game to come out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC, it, I don't know, wasn't really... It's a good looking game, trust me, but it looks exactly like games such as Lost World and Generations. You can't really notice any difference. I guess that's good because we don't want him looking all CGI, well, like, you know, over CGI, like having the Chipmunk stuff. But I mean, like, it's kind of tiring seeing the old same graphics in this game, and it wasn't really a huge surprise or a huge epic graphical comparison, but I will say that the levels look amazing in this game, but I will talk more about that in the levels section. So now that we got graphics out of the way, let's talk about the speed plus controls. So modern Sonic controls like he did in Generations, and when I say that, I mean exactly, except that for some reason he's numbed down. Even though this is a sequel, Sonic isn't really as great as he was in Sonic Generations. One of the big things that we notice is that you cannot home attack unless you are locked onto an enemy. In Sonic Generations, you use the homing attack to, like, I don't know, get across tricky platforms and basically make life a whole lot easier, but they removed it completely unless you're locked onto an enemy. So either you find an enemy to lock onto, or either you have to boost. So I guess the homing attack was kind of nerfed down. You're also missing the drift, where if you had to turn very slightly, you kept hold down R2 and Sonic would basically drift the other way. I honestly have no idea why they scrapped this, because this would be useful in so many levels like Metropolis, where you can easily run off across the highway. So yeah, for some reason they dumbed down the controls of Modern Sonic, and I will hold off Classic Sonic and the Avatar till later. So now let's talk about the levels. So as I said before, the levels look gorgeous, and I mean when I say gorgeous, I mean that these are some of the best looking levels I've ever seen, with explosions going on in the background, a bunch of it basically feels like that you're actually in a Sonic level. The levels were great, and if you have to compare this to Generations, it's one of the few things that actually did better than Generations. But however, you may be wondering which is my favorite part of any game. What about the story? Well, let me go ahead and explain the story without getting into spoilers. So Sonic is running across Green Hill when he notices that it looks different and gets a call from Tails saying that Eggman is attacking the city. So he goes to confront Eggman, except he gets knocked out by what's his name? Not Tails. Chaos, Zavok, Metal Sonic, and Shadow, and this new rival called Infinite, summoned by Dr. Eggman. So Sonic is now pronounced dead, and Eggman has taken over the world. Now it's up for a rag team resistance to basically stop Eggman and try to defeat him. So that's basically the story, and even though it's dark for a Sonic story, I thought it was pretty good. It's better than Sonic Generations story, but to be fair, Sonic Generations wasn't really trying hard to have a story. But basically, I think that it's the best story that we've had since Adventure 2, so yeah, it's a pretty decent story, and the new villain Infinite, and yeah, it's true what people say about him. He is a lamer version from Mephistopheles, and did I pronounce that right? Mephistopheles, not Mephistopheles. That's in the Bible and Infinite Warfare. I don't know, like Metrop. Please help me, guys. I don't know what his name is. So Infinite is basically a lamer version of that villain, and he overall doesn't really do much, and his backstory is hugely anticlimactic. So Infinite really doesn't. I don't know. He's not really that great of a villain as the game is hyping him up to be. So now, what I said about Modern Sonic was that he controlled exactly the same as he did in Generations, but dumbed down. Now, you're probably wondering, they said that Shadow was going to be in the game, so obviously Shadow's going to be freaking amazing, right? It's amazing to play as Shadow, but trust me when I say this, he is sadly a Sonic reskin. He doesn't really have any abilities except that he has the light speed dash instantly. That's pretty much it. Though he is kind of faster, and he does play really smoother. Plus, he shot a hedgehog. I mean, how can you deny that? Like, he's Shadow, like the snow, like he Shadow, like I can't comprehend what you thinking when you're thinking about playing as him. Of course you need to play as him. He's Shadow the Hedgehog. Alright, so with that little bit out of the way, let's go to Classic Sonic. Oh my goodness, what have they done to Classic Sonic? Classic Sonic was butchered in this game. All of his stages were terrible, except for that one boss fight. However, all of his stages were absolute garbage. He runs extremely slow, but that's not even the main problem I have with it. The main problem I had was with his momentum. Now, I'm not going to be one of those 2D Sonic fans who basically hates on everything new that comes out and say that the classic games were the best games ever made in history of all time, and that the momentum is all that matters. I love Modern Sonic's gameplay. Heck, you know what? I'm one of the few people who actually likes it better than 2D Classic Sonic's gameplay. But I do love 2D Sonic's gameplay, and you're gonna tell me that you're gonna just basically screw around with his controls. Basically, we do not know the momentum is screwed up. You could be running down a hill, and then all of a sudden in Classic Sonic, even if you're holding down an analog stick, he'll just stop and then go slow. Legit. He runs super fast and then just slows down. That's not really a good way to put Classic Sonic in this game. Plus, he's extremely slow, and his jumps are a little off time. Trust me, Classic Sonic was butchered, and the soundtrack on his stages... Do I even need to talk about those? Alright, so now let's get to the Avatar, which a lot of people have mixed feelings about, but I personally thought was the best thing in this game. Basically, the Avatar customization... Oh my goodness, it's so great, the avatar customization. You can make your avatar from anything, from a hedgehog to a werewolf. I'm not a werewolf, I'm stupid. From a hedgehog to a wolf to a to a are dogs in there? Okay, so basically you can make your avatar, customize him however you want. He looks pretty different from everybody else's. Trust me, there's so much customization options in this. It's amazing. And let's actually get to the stages. So he's not as fast as Sonic, and he's way faster than classic Sonic. But overall, I found this gameplay to be, it was pretty good. I mean, the soundtrack was great in most of his stages.
Looks like this place was you.
And basically he runs super fast, not super fast, he runs medium fast, and the weapons that he has is pretty overpowered and pretty OP to use. So I thought his stages were, it was good, I'd give it that. So basically, let me go ahead and go over a few stuff before I conclude. First of all, the soundtrack. I am so happy that vocal songs have come back to Sonic because I missed them so much. The soundtrack in this game, was really a hit and miss for most people, but for me, oh my goodness, I absolutely cherish the soundtrack. This soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks in any game I've heard in a long time. I love this soundtrack and I think it's just absolutely great.
So Eggman had another weapon up his sleeve.
And then let's get to the boss battles. The boss battles, they were good. I don't know what people are saying that they're so amazing as they do in the reviews. I thought they weren't bad, but they were good. I mean, they could have done better, but I mean, they were good. That's basically how I can describe it. Just good. It had decent soundtracks in some of them, and overall the boss fights were pretty easy, even if you're playing as on hard. But I mean, some of them do make you rage though, so I guess that's what boss fights are supposed to do. And so yeah, that's basically all I have to say about Sonic Forces. So I am gonna go ahead and give Sonic Forces a 4 out of 5. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 because there's some things that held it back. First of all of classic Sonic stages. Second of all, the villain wasn't interesting and was kind of lame in his his backstory was not that good. And third of all, lack of innovation. I love this game and I think it's a fun game to play, but I have to side with everyone in saying that this is somewhat of a generation's copy. It has different stages, a different story, and in like a new character, but overall if you get down to it, it's just the same gameplay as Generations. Not that it's a bad thing, but we shouldn't have waited like, I don't know, 7 years for this? No, 6 years for this, almost 7. If you were going to give us a mediocre game that was exactly like Generations. Now, if you guys are wondering why I say this is mediocre and why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, it's because I just think the game's good. It's fun. I value fun over everything. I think that this game didn't really have a lot of that much effort put into it. It had a lot of effort, trust me, but it had the same effort put into it as Generations. But I do say proudly that this game was fun and it was a success in my opinion. So there was a few things that held this game back, but I honestly loved it, which is why I am concluding this with a 4 out of 5. That was my review of Sonic Forces. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.